In this video I'm going to show you the best and quickest way to fix this table leg. Stay tuned because it's coming up right now. Hey, what's up guys, JB here, and thanks for clicking and checking out this video. Right now we're sorting out this table leg. Now this is a friend and client's table that they handed to me and said, JB, can you fix this? And well, you know, I just had to say, yeah, of course I can. So we're in the basement, we're in the workshop, we're going to sort it out. Now in order to fix this table leg, we only need few materials. We're looking at using wood glue, a few screws and a piece of treated timber. Check it out. Now a mortise and tenon joint consists of one part of the timber which is cut out like this, which is the mortise, so this is the cavity if you like, and then the other section is left with a bit sticking out so it can actually fit in that hole, and this part is called the tenon. Now if you can imagine, when these three pieces of timber were put together and glued, it's going to create a really strong joint, and this whole section would have been put together initially and then fixed to the tabletop. So somehow we've got to get this back into here and get it all fixed up. I don't want to be we can't take the rest of this off, so we're going to do our best to make it nice and strong to get this back on here. So it is quite wobbly on this side too. I'm hoping that that's going to be okay, that end. Now the first thing I want to do here is give this a clean up. I'm not going to pull too much of this timber out of the mortise, and I'm not going to destroy any more of this tenon because I want to keep as much timber as possible because I am going to glue this. But what I do want to do is get rid of some of this green and dirty wood. So let's get a bit of sandpaper and sort that out right now. Well, I've just got myself a very small bit of 80 grit sandpaper, which is going to be plenty just to clean this small area up. Now I do want to apply some glue to the end of the leg and to the tabletop here, so ensuring that this is clean is really important. Really is quite rotten. The wood's gone quite soft. You can probably see it's just crumbling as I pick at it. So let's not rub away at that bit too much, because I do want to save as much as possible. There we go, that's good enough. Now what I don't want to do on the top of the leg here is start rounding it off, so I'm going to use a block, just a piece of timber, to keep this nice and flat as I sand it. So just a simple offcut like this with the sandpaper wrapped around it will help to keep that flat as we just clean it up. There, I think that will do. It's nice and smooth, it's really clean, so that top end will be fine now. And what I want to do next is just clean this mortise out, and already part of the tenon has come away. And I really don't think that's worth keeping at all. It's just completely rotten, gone really soft. There's quite a lot of timber in this section here, and I might just leave that in there because I'm hoping that once this section of the table goes in there, it's going to make contact with the rest of this, which will really help the glue to bond. Let's just give the end of this a little sand. Just because that's sticking out a tiny bit there. There we go. Do the same on this bit. Now what I want to do here is just see how well this all fits together again, because I really want to make sure this is a nice tight fit. And actually, if I turn the table round, you can see that there's just a little bit of a gap down here. It's not quite flush. The rail's not quite flush against the leg here. This other side looks pretty good. I'm definitely happy with that there. But I'm wondering if I can just sand a little bit more away on here, just to make sure that goes in a little bit deeper. There we go, much better. Just needed a tiny bit of sanding on that rail there. That now fits back in position really nicely. Now the other issue that we have to deal with is this rail here. We need to fix this into position because it is wobbly, and if we just put this leg on here, that is still going to move slightly. As I've said already, this whole section would have been put together and then fixed to the table, and there are actually no fixings from this rail into the actual tabletop. It's all reliant on the fixings on these long rails here. So now what I'm going to do is put a couple of my own fixings in this rail into the tabletop, so that gives that a nice solid fixing. However, I can't fix that onto there because I then won't get my leg in. So I need to put the leg on and then fix it into position. So the next thing we need to do is to glue this up, get it in position, then fix this rail. Now my plan is to use these 60mm screws to drive into this side rail into the tabletop. I'm going to drill some larger holes in here so we can sink the screw head probably about 15mm deeper, so it drives into this tabletop here. There we go, perfect. So I've pilot drilled those, and I haven't gone into the tabletop, so I'm hoping then that the screw will drive itself into the tabletop, which will give it a really strong fixing. And these are designed to drive into timber without pilot drilling it, so pretty happy with that. Let's just make those holes bigger. So we obviously need to select a drill piece that will allow the head to sink, and I think this one will probably be the answer. It's a little bit bigger than the screw head. I'm probably not going to get much closer to that. And as he says that, he pulls it out the box, which is exactly the same. So there we go. We'll use this one. Now here's where we need to be careful that we don't go too deep. So what I will just do here is put a little bit of tape around the end so we know exactly how far down to go. Let me just check that again. Yeah, that's looking about 15 centimeters. Sorry, 15 millimeters. So that should be perfect. Lovely. Okay, holes are ready. Let's get it glued up. Now I was planning just to use my standard driver bit here, driver bit holder, but as you can see it's not going to allow me to get deep enough into the hole, so you're going to need to make sure you've got yourself a bit just like this one, which is quite thin, and that will allow you to go deeper into that hole without being obstructed. Now if you want the job to last, you need to make sure that you're using a waterproof glue, one that you can use indoors and outdoors. And for that I'm using the Gorilla Wood glue. I'm pretty happy with this stuff. I've used it plenty of times before, and I've actually done a video on it, so you can go check that out if you want to. Just found some bugs inside the hole. Got a few wood lice living in there. They better come out now, otherwise they are going to be buried alive. Now I am going to be quite liberal with the glue in here because there's a rather large cavity for a rather small tenon, particularly on this side, so I want to make sure I get plenty of glue all around these edges. And as I've said already, I'm going to apply the glue also on the tabletop here and on the top of the leg here. Just make sure we got a bit around the edge there, plenty around the edge there, and then we'll just put some down the bottom here too. Oh, it's dripping out of the up there already. Okay, good. So we'll get that piece on there first and then into there. Fantastic. There we go. What I really want to do right now is focus on getting this rail fixed, and then I'll clean everything up. So that, to me, looks pretty good. So we'll take our 2 screws, just making sure that is definitely in the right position. I don't necessarily need to clamp this down because as this screw goes in it will drive that closer to the tabletop, because the hole is quite big, so it doesn't actually need clamping down. Well, we'll soon see, won't we? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Also need to make sure I'm not going through the tabletop. Might just bring that over the edge of the table. Just take it over the edge of the bench and just feel it to make sure that's not coming through. No, that's still pretty good. So same on this one. You can see that's just lifted a bit there, but actually. Okay. So there is still a bit of a wobble in there, but that's okay at the moment because we haven't quite finished. We've still got another stage to go through, and that is going to be putting a bracket behind the leg here in order to keep the leg still. Let's get this glue cleaned up. Now while I prepare the next bit and I need to make a small fixing block, I'm going to use this framing clamp to put round all the legs because it is quite wobbly. This leg is quite wobbly and I want it to pull together right now, and I don't want the glue to start going off and then start pulling it together. So if I can hold it in position with this, and then I'll get the block on and we'll be done. Oh yeah, haven't used this for a while, but it's a pretty cool tool, that's for sure, and it's definitely come in handy for this job. Now that really has pulled that in and holding it tight in position, which is going to allow me to get a wooden block behind this leg that will help pull it in and keep it secure. To the Batmobile, let's go! Right, anyway, so I've got the clamp on, the glue is going off, you can see some excess glue down here. That's feeling quite secure at the moment, loads of glue in there. Once that's gone off, it's going to really hold that quite solid. What I need though is something to really help keep this post fixed against these two rails of the table, because the Mortise and Tenon joint is pretty much doing nothing now. I mean, they are holding the rails, but they're not giving it the strength that it needs. What we need to do is put some kind of bracket in here. Now my plan is to use a piece of timber angled each side, just going across, spanning across this corner here, which we can screw into the leg, which will pull the leg in and pull it all together, hopefully giving it plenty of strength. You've seen it already, little bit of treated timber here. It is from a piece of tongue and groove that I had, so it's got the tongue on here. I'm not worried about getting rid of that because you're not going to see this part of the table, obviously, because it's underneath. Oh, let's just turn that radio off, forgot about that. Well, I guess you will actually, because it's slatted, but do you know what? If you want the table fixed and you want it to last, I'm going to have to put something in there. So you might, you might just see it, but hey, there you go. It's got to be worth it if we're saving the table, right? So let's get this bit of wood chopped up, angled, and ready to fix on here. So here's my wooden bracket that I've just cut. I've put two 45-degree angles on it, and this is going to sit in here. And the idea of this is to fix this piece to the side rails, and then we can drive some screws through here into this leg. Now this type of fixing is generally found also on beds. I have seen this kind of design fixing on beds, the actual frame of a bed, A lot of the time they do use metal brackets, and sometimes you might find that there is for example, a slot in these rails, or it might just have a metal bracket that's screwed into them. So I'm going to use that exact same formula or theory, design, whatever you want to call it, but I'm using this block of wood, and by attaching this here, it's going to pull the leg this way harder against these rails, so hopefully it's going nowhere. So this will give you a bit of an idea of how far the screw will be going in. So it will sit slightly away from the leg, and then the screw will go in here. I will definitely pre-drill this leg, otherwise that could end up splitting the timber. So with my bracket in place, I just need to draw a line that runs in line with this bracket here, so I know exactly where I'm putting my pin. So these are the pins that I'm using. I could do with them being a little bit longer, but it's all I've got. But it should be enough just to grip that block, giving it a little bit more strength. We'll get some glue on here. Boom. Okay, perfect. A little bit more glue to clean up. Job done. One table fixer. Well, that leg certainly is well fixed. I've left that for a couple of hours now, and there's no way. That's actually stronger than the others. It's quite an old table. It's a very nice table. I think it's oak. Might be an oak table, but it's well weathered. So it's got that real kind of greeny grey look to it, but it's certainly fixed, and I'm well pleased with that, that's for sure. So I reckon one customer is going to be happy. I do hope this video has helped, and if you've got any questions about fixing a table leg just like this one, then you know, get in touch. Well, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. Well, that's it from me, but if you do want to hang around for a bit longer, check out some of my other videos right here. Plenty to choose from. It would be fantastic if you subscribe to my channel, that would be amazing, and show your support in what I do. But from me and me, I'm out of here. I'll see you soon.